Welcome to Divine Femme TV. My name is Sarah Rose, and this is another channeled message for the Divine Feminine Collective. There are different waves of the collective, so take what resonates. If this message doesn't resonate, then I do welcome you to check out the playlist that is linked below in the description box and also at the end of this video. If you want support on your journey, you can access Embody the Empress, which is my Divine Feminine Awakening and Embodiment membership if you're ready to shift the journey from settling and sacrificing and suffering into your divine sovereignty. So you can find all the details for that below. Let's go ahead and dive into the message. I wanted to share what's been coming up is the number one thing that will keep you looping in cycles of suffering on this journey if you don't know this. And so I'm going to share with you what this is, and it may trigger you, and that's totally fine. I'm not here to stroke your ego. So if you are triggered, that likely means you are attached to a specific outcome on this journey. And that is also precisely why you are suffering on this journey. Spirit, the divine, God is guiding you to surrender, detach, and release control and move inward and connect with the truth of who you are and your heart and the unconditional love that you are, which does not control, which does not possess, which does not need, which does not want. You can have desires on this journey. Desires are a natural part of co-creation. However, as you evolve on this journey and ascend on this journey, you will not be attached to any specific outcome. And that goes across all areas of your life, not just with your twin flame, also with your line of work, how you make money, your career. Like, there's going to be so much surrendering to the unknown and embracing the unknown as you move into 5D consciousness and new earth frequency, which is where you're headed if you're listening to this and you've landed here. So I really just wanted to share with you a couple of side notes as well before we dive into the message. There is so much growth and expansion and abundance and divine prosperity and divine alignment with your highest timeline and your purpose and your mission and your authentic truth and your ideal timeline for yourself in this lifetime. Like, there's so much alignment that is beyond this twin flame catalyst that entered your life. So this message is for divine feminines that have been activated by their twin flame on this journey. And at the beginning of this journey, that's all you can think about. But I'm here to share with you that when you can finally break the toxic addictive cycles with your twin flame and actually start to come home to yourself, you will activate your highest timeline and catapult yourself on to your into your purpose and into your most authentic truth. And there's going to be a lot, spoiler alert, a lot of surrendering on this journey. Your twin flame is just like the tip of the iceberg of you surrendering on this journey as you come home to the truth of who you are, which is true unity consciousness, transcending separation consciousness, moving from duality of the mind into oneness, which is the truth of who you are. You are one with all that is, and paradoxically, you also have this authentic divine expression. So, just sharing a little spoiler alert here that the twin flame catalyst comes in to activate you and pretty much serve as a forced awakening onto your ascension journey, where eventually you have like no choice but to go inward and surrender, because if you don't, you will just make yourself crazy, which is how you feel when you start off this journey. So the message that's coming through is for a very specific divine feminine who's been on this journey for a while. You understand that there's obviously something going on here that is not of the normal, right? Like, you've been activated. There's lots of spiritual energy circulating within your body. You're having possibly heightened states of intuition or psychic abilities. Maybe you are going through dark night of the soul, like your mind is racing, you can't shut it off, like parts of your life maybe there's a lot happening, right? And so you've been on this journey for a while enough to know that this is not a soulmate connection. And this leads me to the message today. The number one thing that will keep you looping in cycles of suffering, if you don't know this and actually begin to let this seep in to your being and accept this, you will continue to suffer on this journey. And that is that you are making this a romanticized connection. You are making this a romanticized connection, very much like a soulmate connection, treating this as some kind of romanticized soulmate connection. What you really want when you say you want your twin flame back is you really want the romanticized soulmate connection that was part of the initial meeting when you first were meeting each other. You really want this romanticized soulmate connection, very intense, very, very passionate, very whatever. Like, apply it how it resonates for you. This blissed out honeymoon stage, this bubble of love that you were in at the beginning, before that bubble was popped by your twin flame when they ran out of nowhere and completely left you high and dry and pulled the rug out from underneath you, leaving you feeling completely abandoned and frantically running around like a crazy person trying to figure out what to do about this, frantically scouring YouTube for videos and things like that, trying to make sense of what's happening. Now, what I'll say is that's a normal part of this phase of the onset of this after you're activated. This is a very normal part of the journey when you're starting to spiral and your ego is starting to freak out. Your mind is like, there's no off switch for it, and you're just obsessed and you're addicted, and the only thing you want back is your twin flame. So this addictive phase, this is a phenomena of the twin flame journey. No one's really going to understand it unless they've experienced it. And I was on the spiritual path for many years before even being activated by my twin flame. I already went through Kundalini awakening and all my intuitive gifts opening and channeling and like all my chakras opening and all my gifts coming online and moving a lot of energy and all of that before meeting my twin flame. And it was still nuts. It was still crazy. So everybody's journey is different. Some people are meeting their twin flame and this is like they haven't had a big opening prior to this, and so that can make it possibly even more intense. I know I've talked to a lot of divine feminines where that's been the case. So all of that being said, the first thing that you do on this journey is you obsessively and addictively attach to an outcome on this journey, and that outcome is that you get your twin flame back, because apparently, according to your egoic mind, that is the only thing that will soothe this soul aching pain and suffering that you're experiencing. And then you go on YouTube and you start binge watching YouTube videos, and you find all these videos that treat it as a romanticized soulmate connection. And so here's what I'm sharing today as this message that is imperative for you to understand if you want to break the cycles of suffering. If you've truly met your twin flame, it is not a romanticized soulmate connection. What you are truly seeking is that soulmate bubble love phase, that honeymoon phase, that connection that you felt with them at the early stages. And that was part of the activation, but that's not what this journey is about. And in fact, you will neutralize all of that intense, addictive energy as you ascend on this journey. You will neutralize it. Neutral means you don't have a preference either way, whether you're with your twin flame or not, because you're so solid and good in your own embodied divinity, that you trust and know everything is working out for your highest good, and that everything is being aligned for you, and that only the highest possible outcome is for you, and you actually neutralize the energy. But at first, it's very addictive and it's very obsessive and, quite frankly, very unhealthy and very codependent. And this happens when your divine counterpart pops that bubble, that honeymoon bubble phase, by completely leaving you high and dry and pulling the rug out from under you, triggering all of your core abandonment wounds and your unworthiness wounds at such a deep level, and this is all by divine design. The first thing the ego wants to do, though, is latch on to the person, because the ego desperately wants to fill that void, fill that suffering, and it wants to do it by getting your twin flame back, because that's what your egoic mind thinks is going to solve your problem. And then you can go through months, years, maybe even a decade or a lifetime of going in cycles until you're finally willing to treat this journey for what it is, which is your ascension journey. And the core abandonment wound, the core unworthiness wound, is what is being triggered within you, because your soul in another body, aka your twin flame, your divine mirror, is reflecting back to you all of the places within yourself that you are still divided within. What is the opposite of divided within? The opposite of divided within is union within. What are you coming into union within yourself? What part of you is coming into union? And this is kind of a trick question, because the words don't describe this properly. When you hear of inner union, divine union within, you are coming home to yourself. And there really is no separation with who you truly are. How could you not already be the truth of who you are? You already are divinity. You already are divinity. So even though we were using words like coming home to yourself or coming into union within, there is untruth in those words, because it implies that you were ever separate from yourself, that you were ever not who you truly are, a divinely worthy being. And that is not true. You are a divinely worthy being. You have been a divinely worthy being. You are an eternal, timeless, you are the eternal, timeless essence that is animating your being right now. You are that. And you've never not been that. And you will always be that. You are eternal, timeless, and let's just leave it at that right now, because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. You are eternal, timeless, and you are the love that you seek. That is what this journey is about, coming home to the love that you are. It implies that there's a journey. It implies that there's separation when we're using the words coming home to yourself. But nonetheless, there appears to be a journey that you go through to come home to yourself. And then once you actually realize your true nature, you realize that there was nothing ever to do to come home to yourself. You've always been this. You've always been your true nature. You've always been divinity. Divinity, God, source. You are a spark of creation. You are a spark of the one source. And that consciousness, that beingness has always been there through all of your trials, through all of your tribulations, through all of your heartbreaks, through all of your triumphs. That presence has always been with you, despite what's been playing out on the world stage. But on this journey, the more that you see yourself as separate, aka separation consciousness, which is what you're transcending as you move into unity consciousness, the more you see yourself as separate and know yourself to be this human body, and your mind or your thoughts or your your name, right? Like the more you identify as a personhood, as your mind, body, vehicle, instead of the true essence of what and who you truly are, the more you see yourself as separate, going through the world as this separate sense of self, this is rooted in fear. Separation consciousness is rooted in fear because you are in essence feeling separate from the source of who you are, although separation is actually the illusion. It's not actually the truth of who you are. You've never been separate. You are divinity. You've never been separate. So, the more you seek outside of yourself something external to fill this soul aching void within you, the more you suffer, especially the more you try to fill that void with your twin flame, because your twin flame is your soul in another body, and they're here to reflect back to you all the places that you are divided within, meaning all the places that you have not met your true self, where you have not come home to the divine worthiness and love that you are at the core of your being. So, with that being said, if you're still with me, and you haven't clicked off of this, because if you're really early on in the journey and all you want is your twin flame back and you're not open to anything else, you're not resonating with the message that I just shared. But if you're here with me and this is resonating with you, not necessarily at your mind level, but at a soul level, it's because you're ready for this. The more you treat this twin flame phenomena, this twin flame catalyst, your divine mirror, as a separate person in 3D reality, and treat it as a separate, separate person, treat it as a romantic partnership, and treat this as a person that you need to acquire in your life in order to feel whole and complete, the more you will suffer. It's keeping you trapped in this illusion of separation. And this is about your journey home to yourself, to the love that you are. And as you begin to embody your divinity and the love that you are, you naturally, and here's the thing, you naturally elevate your standards. You naturally start to have healthier boundaries. You naturally start to say no to things when you're not being honored or respected or valued. You naturally no longer settle for crumbs. You naturally are wise and decisive and discerning with where you spend your time or your energy or your focus. When you are seeking this person out in your 3D reality, trying to quote unquote get them back into your experience, right there is you identified as a separate sense of self. And there's nothing wrong with that, except the fact that you've been triggered on this journey to awaken and to ascend beyond separation consciousness. And unless you really start to treat this journey as your ascension journey, you will continuously loop and suffer. So there's that. So I hope this message is resonating with whoever needs to hear it. The main takeaway from this is the majority of the videos out there that you're listening to, I guarantee it, if you're landing on this video, this is the intention behind this video, is to kind of give you a wake-up call. The majority of the videos you're clicking on are coming from a place of separation consciousness. They're keeping you hooked in some kind of future projection, some kind of outcome. And trust me, attaching to outcomes on this journey is not your friend. It's only going to cause more suffering. So they're keeping your attention in a future projection. The future doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is now. But you're being hooked by the mind into the future, projecting into the future, hanging all of your hope on some kind of expectation, and romanticizing the connection as if it's some kind of soulmate connection. This is not to say that your divine masculine or your twin flame will not come back into your experience. You can magnetize them back in by coming home to yourself if they were to come in while you're still in this addictive, chasing, needing energy where you still need something outside of yourself to soothe yourself, instead of you fully coming home to who you are and being whole and complete and realizing the love that you are and feeling so effing good in your own body, so safe in your own body, so loved by yourself, so self-honoring. If they come back before any of that is happening in your experience, where you are embodying the love that you are and you are flowing it to yourself freely, then it will result in another separation. Why? Because they are going to continue to reflect back to you all of the places that you are still lying to yourself, so you can see, illuminating your shadow so you can alchemize it and get on with stepping into your most abundant, highest timeline, embodying the Empress that you know in your heart that you are. So I hope this message resonated with whoever was meant to hear it. And if it did resonate, I would love you to drop a comment and let me know. And if you want support on this journey, that is what I'm here for. And you can get the support that you need right now inside Embody the Empress, which you can find below this video in the description. So I hope this message finds you well. And until next time, namaste.